Delectable Mountains is used in many quilts in many different ways. Here we've used it with Susan's method of making triangle squares for our brand new block of the month called Rocky Mountain Dreamin. All of our instructions are designed with step-by-step graphics to make things a lot easier for you. Susan's going to begin with the first triangle square, and all of our units are marked. It's in your directions and shows you how to do it. She's using unit 1 and 1A. She's going to place them right sides facing and raw edges matching. Keeping the raw edges matching is very important. So she will place it under the presser foot and sew from point to point. In order to accomplish this without drawing or pressing diagonal seam guidelines, she's using the Angler 2, keeping the point on the center line. That eliminates the need to draw or press diagonal seam guidelines. Now, opening it up, look how perfect that is. Raw edges match beautifully. Susan has one that is already pressed. And look at that, it's perfect. Now, taking the triangle square that she has already pressed, Susan's going to trim the seam in the back to 1/4 inch. Check the diagrams for where your color placement should be, and Susan is placing unit 2 on the triangle square that she just made. Now, sewing them together with a 1/4 inch seam, she keeps it on the 1/4 inch seam line on the Angler. If you can see the line, you're taking a scant 1/4, which is what we like to take. Now, opening, and you will see that she has added unit 2. Taking one that she's already pressed toward unit 2, she's going to add triangle square unit 3. And although she's adding a square, it's going to end up to be a triangle square, and it's a quick and easy way to do it. Right sides facing, raw edges matching, keeping the point on the center line of the Angler. She's adding unit 3. And real quickly, you're going to see how this great technique works. Here she has her second triangle square. And it's like adding them and chain piecing them. Now, taking one she's already pressed, she's going to once again trim the seam. Now, to continue going with it, she's going to add unit 4 to the triangle square that she just made. Keeping it along the 1/4 inch seam line on the Angler 2, so that she has an accurate scant 1/4 inch seam. Now she has added unit 4. Taking the one that she has already pressed, she's pressed it toward unit 4. Now, to complete this row, she's going to add unit 5, which is a diagonal end. And if you've watched our Angler demonstrations on Free for Everyone on our website, Susan is going to make a diagonal end. Now, Susan and I make them a little bit different than Robert does. As you can see, the way Susan has placed it, she can see the point. And we both like to see the point because we always nail the point. It's an easy way to do it. So we give you a choice here to use whichever one works the best for you. Now this is what it should look like after you've added unit 5 and you've trimmed the seam. You're going to make 2 of these rows. And now Susan's going to demonstrate the second row that you'll be making, beginning with unit 7, and you will be making 2 of these rows as well. She starts with a diagonal corner or a snowball corner, placing the square right sides facing, raw edges matching. She's going to stitch from point to point, keeping the point on the center line of the angler as she feeds it through the machine. This ensures that you have a straight, accurate line and that your corners are going to match. Now, Susan has prepared one, already pressed it, and she's going to trim the seam. The next thing that she will be adding is unit 8. And again, she's going to begin to add triangle squares. Unit 8 is added first. Take an accurate 1/4 inch seam. And there you have unit 8 added. Next, to demonstrate this for you, she will be adding unit 9, which will again continue your triangle squares. She'll stitch from corner to corner, and this is illustrated on your instructions. And there, as you can see, adding unit 9, it'll make another triangle square. Then she adds unit 10 and 11, and finally unit 12, which is simply a square and will be pressed towards unit 12. Make 2 rows. And now to complete the main part of the Delectable Mountain block, Susan has added row 1 through 5 to both sides of the center square, unit 6, and she has turned one of the rows. The second row, units 7 through 12, are added to the top and the bottom of the block. And now she's going to prepare it so that she can trim it. And she's going to trim from one corner to the other, which is going to give you your 2 mountains that you need to complete the quilt. Lining up her ruler so that she gets each point, she's going to cut it in half, diagonally. And now we're just about finished. We have 2 mountains for our quilt. Now you have been directed to cut unit 13, which begins as an 8-inch square, and you've been directed to cut it in half diagonally. Susan is going to add the triangles to the sides of the mountains. As you can see, she's lining up the side and the bottom, and this leaves 3/8 of an inch hanging over at the top, using your 1/4 inch seam, and then you will press toward the triangle. Then the other triangle is added in exactly the same way, lining up on the bottom and along the side. And as you can see, when it's stitched, it ends up perfect, giving you a 1/4 inch seam at the top. Now here are your 2 mountains where you've added your triangles And so that they're mirror images, unit 14 is added to one side there, and unit 14 is added to the other side there, with unit 15 being added to the top.